Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Biz by Sell Using BrokerWorks to Optimize Your Online Marketing webinar for Thursday, June 25th. It's currently 10 o'clock here on the West Coast, in foggy San Francisco, and 1 o'clock on the East Coast. We thank you all for being here, and we look forward to sharing product with you today and giving you the tips and tricks to best use it. Joined with me today are Doug Whitmire, Director of Sales and Customer Success, Madeline Lynn, who's Territory Manager, and Jason Tom, who is our Sales Manager. They'll be walking you through our webinar today, and if you have any questions, drop them in the box. We'll get to them as best we can. And without further ado, I turn everything over to Doug. Good morning, Doug.
Good morning, Brendan. Thanks for all your help in logistics and getting this set up. And good morning to everybody. Good morning or good afternoon, depending on which time zone you're in the United States. We do this monthly, so we have a number of different types of people that join these monthly webinars. There are new members, new customers to Biz by Sell who have just either signed up as a broker or an agent recently. So to you, we say welcome. There's brokers and agents who have been with us for many years who get the invitation for these, and they attend just to get an update and see what's new and what's happening with us at Biz by Sell. We're happy to have you on the call. And the goal is for everyone is we want to support your success. So we operate a very fantastic platform to give you exposure to both your brokerage firm and to your listings. And so the goal today is to help you make the most of what you have and to be successful in what are very interesting times that we live in. So I'm Doug Whitmire. I'm Director of Sales and Customer Success. I've been with Biz by Sell for about 4 years. Prior to that, I've led sales teams in online platforms, supporting small businesses, most recently with small law firms, single practice attorneys, and smaller law firms, helping them get the most of their visibility online. So I have a lot of experience in helping small business owners promote themselves and to be most effective in online advertising. Joining me is Madeline Lynn. Maddie is one of our account managers. You may have met Maddie or spoken to her, depending on who you are. Maddie, good morning.
Hi, Doug. Good morning, and thank you everyone for joining us today.
Great. Thanks for being with us. Also, Jason Tom is here. Jason is our leader of sales for the broker team. Jason, good morning.
Hi, everybody. Thanks, Doug. Yeah, and today, I've been with Biz by Sell, LoopNet, as well as CoStar. I've been in all parts of the business, and we'll go over just marketing listings today, just some best practices, and hopefully it helps everyone moving forward.
Thanks, Jason. Well, we look forward to helping everybody. So first, some housekeeping things. First of all, lines are muted. So we do want to take your questions, and we'll take questions over the chat feature in GoToMeeting. So in your GoToMeeting menu, you'll see a little drop-down menu that says chat. So feel free to use that chat function to type in a question. I'll be keeping an eye on the chat, and if I see questions come in, if it's relevant, appropriate to the topic at hand, we'll go ahead and air it out and provide a response. Some we may save till the end. Others, we get a lot of questions about account-specific things that may be not so relevant for the audience as a whole. So those we'll tend to address one-on-one. But feel free to ask questions. We would like to keep this as interactive as possible. The question that we get probably first and most frequently is this session being recorded, or will it be recorded? The answer is yes, it will be recorded. We'll be sending the link of the recording out to everybody so you can refer back to it for your reference. Or as I said, we do this monthly, so feel free to hop on this call, usually the third Thursday of every month. So what are we going to cover today? Today, we are going to discuss just a brief overview of Biz by Sell. Many of you know us very well. Some of you are new to working with us. So we'll give you a brief overview of who we are and how we fit into this transactional ecosystem of small business buying and selling. We're going to give you an update on some market conditions. Certainly the last 3 months have been kind of crazy, unprecedented, and it's affected every business. And so we'll give you the perspective as we've seen it as the small business online marketplace of transactions, as well as traffic to our site and leads to our site for both listings and for brokers. So online marketing right now is probably more important than ever, given the fact that much of America is still sheltering in place. And so your presence online and how you present yourself and present your listings is really critical. So we're going to spend a lot of time, Maddie and Jason and I are going to spend a lot of time helping you understand how to do the best job that you can to be visible online and to make the most of your listings and your broker profile on our network. So who are we? So Biz by Sell, we've been around for about 22 years. We're the #1 business for sale network. We lead in listings, buyers, and sellers. We're part of CoStar, so we're proud to be a member of the CoStar family. CoStar, as you may know, serves all facets of the commercial real estate industry, from brokers, owners and developers, retailers, multifamily, lenders, service providers, appraisers, valuation providers. So in our family of CoStar, we represent the small business marketplace, and we're proud to be part of it. So what does our network comprise of? So we do have the sites Biz by Sell and our companion site BizQuest. We're also connected with LoopNet, CoStar's commercial real estate unit, and I'll explain a little bit about that in a minute. And then our partner sites, which I'll also. But currently and throughout the year, we maintain about 50,000, a little bit more than 50,000 active business for sale listings. Our network gets about 2.5 million monthly visits to the sites. And we have a directory of business brokers that you are a part of. There's about 6,000 brokers and agents in that directory right now. And then we also serve the franchise industry for both new franchise opportunities and then also for ownership transfers of franchise locations that are up for sale or up for transfer. We have about 300 active franchise brands in that directory. So I mentioned LoopNet, and in December of 2019, we began to represent our business for sale listings on the LoopNet platform. So on the screen here, you'll see a rendering of the LoopNet homepage, and then you see the 3 tabs under Find Your Next Commercial Property. You see commercial property for sale, then for lease, and then businesses for sale. So those businesses for sale are the actual listings that are coming from the Biz by Sell network. And then in the window on the right there, you see the franchise opportunity for Papa John's and then the fast food franchise. So these listings come from Biz by Sell, are represented on LoopNet. Sometimes we get questions about, do I need to do anything differently? Do I need to do anything when I'm posting my listing to make sure it appears on LoopNet? And the answer is no. Your listings are automatically put onto the LoopNet network by virtue of being on the platform. So I mentioned also partner sites. Those include platforms like the Wall Street Journal Online, USA Today's online network, and allbusiness.com. Those are some examples. Here you see in the Wall Street Journal, the way that you get to see our business for sale listings is in the business tab, then you go into entrepreneurship, and in that page, you'll see a widget there where a user, a visitor to that page on the Wall Street Journal Online can search for business opportunities for sale. And those include your listings. As long as your listings are on the Biz by Sell network, they'll appear here on the Wall Street Journal, the USA Today network, allbusiness.com, and more. So you've come to the right place to promote your listings and to promote yourself. Traffic, according to a third-party survey company called Hitwise, and we have about 15 times the traffic as our nearest competitor. So and as you'll see, when people are looking to buy a business or even to sell a business, they'll type search terms into Google. We come up at the top of those searches, and it gives us the advantage to get a lot of the traffic for this type of opportunity. So let's talk quickly about the what's happening in the small business market. It's been a crazy year, one for the record books. But since the recession in the late 2000s and early 2010s, when small business activity was very low, there's been a gradual increase and produced some really strong growth in business transactions up through really the first quarter of 2020. And you may know that we collect comp data based on sold transactions. So if you as a broker or an agent take down a listing, BizBuySell will reach out to you and ask you if that listing has been sold. If the answer is yes, then we put that in our comps database, which powers our insight report that we produce quarterly. So we're very near the end of Q2. It ends next Tuesday. And sometime in mid-July, you'll see our Q2 insight report, which will show the transaction volume and the data that we get reported that's going to reflect some of the activity. In Q1 of 2020, sales, transactions, median revenue, all of those were trending upward. As you know, around March 20th, when the pandemic really hit the United States, both traffic and listings and transactions fell really dramatically. I'm going to speak to that in a second, but the market has been hot for many years. We're definitely in a blip right now, but it's created an opportunity for those that are interested to get into the market and to look for businesses to buy. We think that there's really three types of buyers in the market right now. There's some of those are waiting on the sidelines. They're unsure what's happening, unsure of the future. They're monitoring the pandemic and the COVID cases, and they're taking a back seat and not really doing anything. There's others, entrepreneurs, opportunistic buyers who see this as an opportunity to get a good deal on some business, on multiple businesses, and they see that as an opportunity to be opportunistic. Thirdly, there's the newly unemployed. So I don't know if many of you saw just this morning, the Labor Department released figures that another 1.5 million Americans filed for unemployment in the last week. So it's about 13% unemployment right now, more than we've seen in decades. And that actually creates an opportunity for those interested who are newly unemployed, who may want to see business buying, business ownership, franchise ownership as a way to start a new career. So it's a good opportunity, as I said. So access to capital, the cost of money is low. The Fed has cut interest rates down to 0.25%. The CARES Act, which you may have seen and may have seen our webinar that we delivered a couple of weeks ago on the topic, provides for SBA loans, which will pay the first 6 months of principal and interest for loans closed before September 27th. So I would encourage all buyers that you interact with to explore that, to look for CARES Act SBA loans where their first 6 months of principal and interest can be subsidized by the SBA. We actually have a resource on our site in our finance center where you can do that. Then there's certain types of businesses, there's sectors and industries where they're in a good position to actually grow and profit from a pandemic economy. Finally, there are segments of the population who are aging, who may look to be selling. And again, it creates a new opportunity for buyers as more listings come on the market. What types of industries are hot right now? Certainly cleaning, disinfecting, IT services, home delivery, grocery, liquor, healthcare, quick service restaurants, logistics, online delivery, takeout, financial services. There's certain segments of the market that are going to respond well to the change in behavior that people are needing to do in response to sheltering in place and working from home. So take a look for those kinds of industries to be better positioned to sell in the current environment. And the market is active too. So traffic to BizBuySell, as you'll see, took a big dip in that third week of March, and then it steadily rebounded. And what we've seen is gradual growth in visitors to the BizBuySell network, and it's actually now trending to be more than it was in this time a year ago. So there is demand. There are people that are looking for businesses to buy. Buyers are active. Sellers are now active. There's people that are interested in liquidating their businesses, selling assets. There's people that are interested in changing careers, getting out of the business that they had. It's a good time to make a life transition. And there are also sellers that are actively coming to our site. So it's important to know that leads to the broker directory network are up substantially from a year ago. So based on May of 2020, leads to the broker directory were up 19% over May in 2019. And it's trending to be up again around 19% for June year over year. So when we talk to you later, when Maddie talks about ways to make your broker profile stand out and resonate with potential sellers, really take that to heart and make sure that your profile is set up to make you successful for searchers coming to look for a broker to help them sell their business. This graph represents traffic to the site, traffic and leads. So you'll see across the bottom there, it shows the dates in March, April, and May. And you see there in that third week of March where both traffic and leads to the BizBuySell network dropped off. But then again, there's been a gradual growth. And as we're trending for June, which ends here in a few days, we anticipate traffic to BizBuySell and our network in June of 2020 to be over 20% of what it was a year ago. So there is very high interest in people looking at businesses to buy. So what does that mean? That means that marketing online and being present and being prominent online is more important. Why is that? Online searching is now encompassing a lot of ways that people transact business that they didn't before. 93% of home buyers are now searching for their next house online. That didn't happen years ago. 93% of consumers research cars online before buying a car. So Google has become the go-to for research and information. And think about your own behavior when you hear of something or you're referred to something or someone. The first thing you do is you'll go to your computer or you'll whip out your phone and you'll go to Google and you'll look something up. The same is true in our marketplace. And people sheltering in place, working from home, social distancing regulations, companies now working from home and working remotely as we are here at BizBuySell just means that more people are online, more people are searching, and more people are looking for information through this source. So you may have a website as a broker. Your business, your broker, if you're an agent, or your company that you work for, your real estate company may have a website, and that's fine. It's fine as branding for your business, but it's highly unlikely that if someone specifically is searching to buy a small business, that your company's website is going to appear high in search results. People look at the top results as authoritative, and you'll find BizBuySell and BizQuest coming up high in searches, and we're going to give you an example of that in a second. So all you have to do is go to Google, type in the search term businesses for sale in the search bar, and take a look at what's coming up. And I think there's a good likelihood you're going to see our network and our sites coming up prominently. So it's important to keep a website for your own business and your brokerage, to be sure, but being a part of our network means that you'll be well positioned to be found when people are looking to buy business. So here's just a quick example. We go to Google, we go to the search bar. I picked the term businesses for sale in Los Angeles, and you'll see that search result comes up. Here's BizBuySell occupying the first 4 positions of that search. Los Angeles being one of the largest and most competitive markets really in the world. It's great to be in a place where you're in a marketplace where you're at the top of the search. So you see BizBuySell for California, BizBuySell for Los Angeles, and then you'll see our companion site, BizQuest. That top result is paid, so we spend a lot of energy and resources optimizing our paid search so that when people are doing specific searches, we're coming up at the top, both paid and organically. So you're in a good spot, and the market is good right now. It's a very strange market, but we're seeing good traffic, good energy, good demand for people looking to buy businesses. So you're well positioned on our platform to be visible. Now we're going to transition over to what do you do with that visibility? We're going to talk about making sure that your profile is as good as it can be, and then we're going to talk about specifically what makes a good listing and how to make your listing stand out. So I'm going to pass it over to Maddie, who's going to talk in depth about how to improve your profile. Maddie?
Perfect. Thank you, Doug. And again, thank you everyone for tuning in today. I'm going to switch gears a bit, like Doug stated, and talk more specifically about your individual BrokerWorks membership, and more specifically, how to create a strong broker profile. So it's very important to remember your membership is broken into two pieces. The first, more obviously, the ability to include your current business listings, but there is a broker profile that we strongly encourage you fill out to attract new seller leads. Okay, so on the screen here, you're going to see a search run for Sacramento County in California. And if you're with us today, most likely you've just recently signed up with one of our membership levels, Elite, Premium, or Basic. So on the screen here, you can see how they stack up. And it's really important to understand, A, how these are positioned, but B, how a searcher is finding these profiles and how they are viewing them on their end. So you can see elites will always fall towards the top, premiums below, and when you get into lower pages, you'll see the basic memberships pop up. Okay, so that's how a searcher is finding your profile. What are the major differences on the back end here when you're deciding which membership level to go with? So it's clear that premium and elite profiles stand out above the rest. But what else is included? So with premium and elite members, you all receive a Showcase Plus email credit every month. But in addition, those profiles receive exposure on high traffic pages and also exposure in our buyer and seller newsletters. But don't fret, across the board, all levels of membership have some great key features included, including full exposure on our partner network, as Doug stated, on LoopNet as of January of this year, and of course our partner site BizQuest. You all have detailed listing metrics and tracking tools for both your listings and your broker profile, plus access to our full for sale and sold business comps. So you can decide, again, which membership level you'd like to go with, or depending on which one you've already chosen. Click. There we go. So I'm going to show you a quick screen grab of what your BrokerWorks dashboard would look like. So on the screen here, this is an example of what you'll see every time you log into your profile. Major difference, of course, in the top left-hand corner, you'll see Randy is an elite member. So that'll always state where your membership level is at. But this is home base. We provide you with active listing stats, including how many times your listings are being displayed, their ad clicks, and your broker profile displays. So it's important to check these out ever so often. And in the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see the broker profile strength meter. And we're always striving to get this up to 100%. So Randy's doing a great job. I'm going to show you how we get there. The first and most important step when you are filling out your profile is to decide which counties you'd like this profile to come up in. So if you think back to that first slide I showed you when we ran a Sacramento County search, you get to decide where you want to come up. So the example on the screen here is for a premium member. Premium members, you have 5 counties you get to select. Elite, you have 10, and basic members will have just 1. So this is crucial. A lot of the times I'll meet with clients and I'll see some empty spaces here. And typically if you've just upgraded, you're going to have additional slots open for you. So make sure that you jump into your profiles when you have some time and make sure all of these are selected. So once you have that first very important step done, what's next? So this profile really is your tool to attracting new clients and new seller leads. So this is your first opportunity to make a strong impression. And don't be afraid to really talk yourself up, right? This is the one shot you get to highlight your memberships and your credentials. and really explain how you can help over some of your competition, right? You saw how many brokers were listed in Sacramento County alone. If you're in an even more competitive market like Los Angeles or anywhere in Texas and Florida, you know just how many people are out there trying to win over these clients as well. So explain how you can help and really give them a reason to choose you over anyone else. I always like to compare this to online dating, right? Keep those sections clean and neat and put your best foot forward to really attract these new seller leads. So some tips across the board. I feel like people are always asking, well, what are the key pieces that I need to stand out? And we'll go over those. So the first being a professional photo. We know just how important photos are these days. So it's important to have a professional headshot done. You can see Randy's done an excellent job of that. This isn't listed on the left-hand side, but if you're in a licensed state, we do require that that's included on your profile. But if you're in a non-licensed state and you have a real estate or broker license number, add it on there. You worked hard to earn that license. It's going to build credibility and really show to searchers that you're a legitimate business broker. Include your company logo and website URL. So Doug spoke about the importance of having a strong website. Make sure that link works. Sometimes I'll click into people's website URLs and it's a broken link, so verify that that's connected. And then again, take some time to really craft your intro and background. Nothing too long, nothing too short, somewhere right in the middle. All the good information right up front. Spell check it, make sure grammar's accurate. And then we keep saying this, but connect those professional groups and affiliations. So on the screen grab here, you can see Randy has connected his IBBA and CAB, which is California Association of Business Broker membership, on his profile. So how do we do that? This would probably be the next most important step. If you're trying to get information in right away, add those counties in, and then get to this listing distribution screen. It's found under Networking Tools tab on that left-hand toolbar that you have. But this is a list of partners that we are in close contact with, and you have the ability to connect any of these groups and affiliations at no additional cost. I would say LinkedIn is probably the most popular. Most of us have a LinkedIn profile, and it's a great tool. Anytime you add a listing onto Biz by Sell, it'll automatically feed over to your LinkedIn news feed as a post. So you're constantly keeping your network in the loop. But IBBA and M&A Source are the next most popular connections. And there is a search criteria. So there's an additional search criteria that users can use to find a broker that is included in one of these groups. So you are receiving more leads by connecting these memberships. IBBA received 77% more broker directory leads on average, and M&A receive 107% more on average. So if you have a membership with these groups, please make sure you are connecting them. Okay, so now you've done all you need to do. You have your profile at 100%. What is next? I feel most of the time when I speak with you all, or when I've spoken with my clients, you feel that most of your seller leads are coming in through referral. And I think across the board, that's pretty accurate. But even if someone is referring Randy to myself, I'm still going to go to Google and search his name. So you can see here on the screen grab, Randy's website, of course, will come up if I have his specific name Googled. His LinkedIn profile, another network association he's a part of, but his Biz by Sell profile will come up as well. So this is just a tool you can use to, again, build more credibility. This is an additional website now where I can check Randy out and vet him to see if he'd be someone I'd like to list my small business with. And let's say I don't have his name. Let's say I'm using more broad search terms, which is is more typical, I would say. But if I'm searching something like San Francisco business brokers, again, like Doug said, Biz by Sell, BizQuest, and now LoopNet are always coming up at the very top. We've been around for 20 plus years. We are the authoritative voice in these search results. So this is, this is why you want your profile at 100%, so you're coming up consistently within these searches. And before I turn it over to Jason, just a couple key takeaways. Make sure those counties are in there. Make sure your groups and affiliations are connected. Give your profile a once over. As Doug said, seller leads are up 19% compared to last year right now. So make sure your profile is primed and in a position to capture these leads. And at the end of this presentation, my email will be listed. If you want to chat or if you want to meet to discuss ways you can improve your profile, please feel free to shoot me an email and I'd be more than happy to set up a time to chat with you. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Jason Tom. Thank you.
Hey, Maddie, thanks so much. This is Doug again. I just wanted to see if anybody had any questions. Again, your lines are muted for clarity. So if you have any questions, please feel free to use the chat feature within GoToMeeting. And let me see, are there any questions? Okay. All right, let's then move on ahead. And Jason, I'll take it over to you.
Thanks, Doug. Okay, so you know, the tips that Maddie gave, I've gone on meetings with her throughout California, and they do work, right? And we have a lot of success stories from brokers, more so in Northern California, because that's a lot of the territory. But those tools and advice that she's giving in terms of updating and beefing up your profile do drive more opportunity, and they will give you more leads. So listen to the recording, share this information with whoever handles your account if it's not you yourself, but definitely take advantage of it. What I'm going to transition to right now is just marketing the actual listing. So this has nothing to do with your profile or your brokerage, but has everything to do with the inventory or product that you're actually advertising within BizBuySell in your BrokerWorks membership. So we're going to go over best practices and habits we would encourage you to use for your listings, as well as we want to give you a little insight in terms of how our users search. So what I mean by users is when Doug shows that Google searches for businesses in Los Angeles, how does the regular person who's looking to buy a business come on and get onto BizBuySell? But then from there, how do they actually run a search? So it's important to understand the consumer that comes into our marketplace so you can better advertise to them. So strong listings. What does that mean? It basically, we want views, clicks, and you want leads. That's what we want to provide you. And at the end of the day, having leads is what's most important. So how do you get there? And what we've done is we have a lot of research over the years in terms of what drives the most amount of views and clicks, and ultimately things that come into your inbox. And it really is pretty straightforward. It's the right location, completeness of listings, description and professional writing, and as well as including a photo. So those are things we're going to drill into to make sure that you understand how to do that correctly and by our guidelines, which has proven to work. So again, we're not saying everyone has their own strategy in terms of how they do business, but this is a marketplace, and what we do know is what works, and these 4 points will always drive home the most amount of views and clicks. So like I mentioned earlier, the user experience. So how does a searcher find listings within BizBuySell? And what we know is between category as well as location are the main steps that every user takes when running a search. So in this case, you can see restaurant and food, and then California is the state, and then the county. So the state and county are extremely important, and I know there's confidentiality that goes on with the different circumstance of every listing, but if you're not putting in the county or the state, it's going to be really difficult for anyone to find your listing. So those are the first steps a user will take, is category, state, county, and then from there they'll filter it down into price range. So price range as well as cash flow and revenue are the other things that people take into consideration. So people can be very specific what they're looking for, as well as they can be vague. And what they do know typically is location as well as price range in terms of what they're looking for. So let's make sure you include those and set expectations with your sellers on why you need to advertise it that way, because we want people to see the listing. So mistakes that we see that when people are creating listings, and we just want everyone to know that it's we see it, we want to help you guys improve. And this doesn't just go for the new members who are joining us today, but we have a lot of long-term customers who have been making these mistakes that we constantly try to reach out to help them improve the way they advertise their listings. So all caps, professional grammar, I mean, these are things that seem like common sense, but we see the same mistakes happening over and over again. All caps doesn't drive a professional presence. We know that, now we want to share that with you. There's a lot of tools in terms of checking grammar. So you can download Grammarly to your computer to help you with your spell check and the way you're writing. You can have someone within your office to reread the ad before you decide to post it. So take those into consideration. We're going to touch upon the secondary business category of why that's important for visibility. The ad titles are also important. So these are all different guidelines. So ad titles, what I mean by that is how are you advertising at the subject line of the listing? So there's terms that actually drive more clicks than others. So high foot traffic, turnkey, those are terms that we want profitable. These are terms that we'd want to encourage you to use, or whatever you feel the value or the value of your listing that you think is most important, put that in that subject line to make sure that it catches users' eyes. So these are guidelines that we want to help you avoid, but if you have questions, definitely reach out to our customer service team, call Maddie, call myself. We can help you review your listings, because it's really important when you decide to introduce your listing that it is set up correctly. The one final thing I do want to say is, and it seems a little ridiculous, but it's very true, is we get calls every single day from people who are trying to reach out to brokers as well as agents. And one of their biggest complaints is that they've sent in leads, they submitted information for a phone call back, looking for more information on listings, and people aren't calling them back. The brokers and agents aren't calling them back. So we'll go over on where to find your leads, but let's make sure that we're staying professional on just the sales professionalism in terms of getting back to customers, because we want them to be able to get in touch with you. I mean, that's the end goal here, is to try and get a deal to come together. So make sure you stay on top of your inbox and make those phone calls. So the secondary category that I talked about is what we're looking at right here. So when you add a new listing, you're going to see a primary business type, and let's just say the example I always like to use, because it's very common, is a restaurant. And let's just say this restaurant has a bar component to the restaurant. The primary business type is going to be a restaurant. So anyone who searches for a restaurant within your location, your listing will come up. The secondary business type would be that bar component. So that we're giving you the opportunity to list your business also as a bar. So anyone who searches a bar in your location, your listing will also come up. Again, this is visibility, eyes on your listing. That's what we want to drive home all the time, is how do we get as many eyes on as possible. At the bottom, you'll see highlighted is make confidential. So we talked about it earlier. We understand the address, that is a lot of information, and that can, for current operations of businesses with employees, leaving the address probably is something you'd want to not include. But within the city, county, and state, again, think of how our searchers run searches for businesses. If you take out the city, the county, or the state, you're not going to come up in the search results. And then, that limitation is going to limit your leads. So that's what we want to avoid. So Maddie talked about logging into your account and finding your dashboard and going over your profile. The other component to this is your listings. So as you start to add these listings, what you'll see here is a broker's profile and then a broker's dashboard of their listings. And in here, you'll see the inventory of listings that they have. And the top listing where the highlighted red box is, it's the listing actions. So a common question is, do I have the ability to change my listing? Or once I add my listing, is it stuck like that forever? you always have control of your listings. And if you click on the listing actions, that's the main takeaway from this slide is the listing actions will give you all the drop-down controls that you need for your listing. So make sure you drill into this as we go through the rest of the slides, but this is going to be a key takeaway for your marketing manager or your agents or even yourself. When we talk about adding photos, let's do that. Let's just make that a practice, right? So every time you decide to introduce a listing and you want to say, let's get some online presence, let's put it on Biz by Sell. Let's make sure we have a photo prior to adding a listing. So a lot of times we'll hear people saying, well, I added the listing, I'm waiting, I got to get the photo, I'm waiting for the description. Get all that information together. It's a more seamless way to introduce a listing than actually just staggering the information as you go along. So with the attached photo, again, listing actions, you'll see the drop down, click on the attached photos. You can simply browse your computer and take that and just upload the photo to the listing. Don't let this stay in the seller's hands. Take control of this as the broker or the agent and make sure that you have a photo. Use your iPhone, Samsung phone. They have great quality phones, iPad. These are all great ways to get an image seamlessly onto your listing once you add it to your account. We do have guidelines for our photos. So you can see the guidelines that we have. We prefer landscape images, and something we want to make sure that we're very clear on across the board, and we do enforce this, is we want the photo of the listing to be about the listing. This isn't another opportunity to advertise your brokerage, yourself, or any other opportunity for additional marketing. Like if this were a taco shop, we want this to be strictly about the tacos. And this is a guideline for Biz by Sell, BizQuest, as well as LoopNet and all of our network partners. So we don't want to have layers on top of the photos. And we do have a team that actually goes through every listing to make sure that everyone is playing by the same rules. For the listings where you don't have a photo, or let's say your seller doesn't want you to take a picture of it because it's such a common place that maybe an audience might know where it is, you can use a stock photo. And we approve all photos from Pexels. It's free, and there's over thousands of stock photos that are available for you. So that taco shop or the taco image that we just saw, that's from Pexels. Feel free to use that at any given time. Unfortunately, this is the reality of some of the listings that come on, and this is why we are proactively having webinars. We reach out to every customer where we see listings like this to make sure that we put them in a position of success. This listing probably creates more questions and doubt than saying, hey, let's click on that orange call to action, contact seller. So that's an example of a bad listing. Let's avoid that. Let's get that out of our minds and try and strive for something that looks something more like this. And what you can see is the percentages of the amount of leads that come when you have a complete listing. So you can see asking price, gross revenue, as well as cash flow. This particular listing agent has completed their broker profile, so you can see a nice image of Greg in the right-hand corner. And all these things that we look at over the years of 20 plus years of being the leading marketplace, we know that more people are inclined to click on that contact seller button in orange, which are leads for you, when this is all complete. So again, completeness is the key. So when you have a complete listing and you start to drive activity, we want to make sure that you know how well your listing is performing. So how do you know if you have a good listing and is it performing at a market standard rate? So what we know is a 2% click ratio, or 2% clicked, is the baseline that you want to see. If you're below 2%, call us. Maybe rethink of some of your writing on how you presented the listing, maybe update the photo, maybe change your ad subject line. Those are all things to rethink if you're below that 2%. The stats are great, and I think that the key takeaway that you want with the view stats, and again, to get here, you go to your listing actions, the drop down, you'll see view stats. The key takeaway that we want to go through here is we want to make sure you share this with your client. So sharing this with your client will actually set right expectations, as well as give them up to date. Sellers are always curious, like, well, how's my listing doing? What's in the pipeline? What's happening? You can show someone, hey, it's been viewed this many times, it's been clicked this many times. I have these leads in the pipeline. I'm scheduling to meet or have a phone call with this person. Those are all things that are going to create a great relationship between you and your seller. So if you're the broker, definitely share this with your agents. Your agents should know how to use this and have these reports on those weekly or bi-weekly cadences that they have with their customer. So the leads that we have, we do store those leads for you. And again, when you receive a lead, it will go to your inbox. You will be notified when you have a lead for a listing that you've posted. So we store the leads as a backup, but again, I want to make sure that everyone knows that this isn't a separate inbox. Like, this isn't something, so if you look at this set of leads, you can't reply back to Dave Smith within Biz by Sell. So you can export all these leads. You can add this to your database, however you kind of keep yourself organized, or your CRM. But in terms of using this as an inbox, it is not an inbox. Definitely export that and kind of stay on top of the leads, whether it's in your email or from Biz by Sell. Okay. Here's a quick search, San Francisco restaurants, and the top photo was a diamond ad. And as you scroll down, you can see showcase ads. And as we keep going through the amount of inventory that's in San Francisco, the photos get a little bit smaller, and you'll see these are basic ads. With setting expectations, as you have your proposals and you sign listing agreements, you always go over marketing strategy. This is what I'm going to do. This is how we're going to advertise. What we want you to understand here is just options in terms of how to market your listing based on the circumstance. So what we know is, that this is this is page 1 of restaurants in San Francisco, and we went through almost a 30-second drop down of listings available. And what we want to do is make sure that under whatever the circumstance is, the options on how to get to the top of the search results versus being at the bottom. So what we talked about was the diamond ad always stays on top. Below the diamond ad or the fitness studio that you can see is a little slightly smaller image, which is our showcase listings. And then we have our basic listings. Review these options. Let your clients know that, hey, if we don't get to a certain point, we may want to think about upgrading to get more visibility, which drives more leads, and just have this in your back pocket. In certain cases, you might not need to go down this path, but then there are circumstances where it's like, hey, I need to beef up the marketing here. And these are some of the options that we do offer within your BrokerWorks account. So when to upgrade? I think the common theme is you guys on this call are all commission-based. And that's, that comes with this challenges, right? And when you get a high price listing, there's always a little bit more skin in the game. So obviously the bigger the listing, the bigger the marketing budget, but then also knowing your market. This listing is in Southern California. Maddie mentioned the same way, top 5 market across the United States. There's a lot of competition. Gas stations, which is this listing, is a more complicated sale than other listings that take all these things into consideration. The seller's timeline, especially today, your goals should be aligned with their goals. Their timeline, if it's, hey, I need to move fast, I need to go now. Well, if that's the case, let's get your listing to the top of the search results, because it's proven that more leads and more eyes are going to come onto your listing when you stay at the top of those results. So take that into consideration. Maddie's email will be at the end. If you're local to the Bay Area, definitely reach out to her. We can do a custom appointment, make sure that we get your account set up for success. If not, still reach out to her. There's always a live demo that we can do. We can log into your account directly and go through your listings and make sure that you're set up to transition from 2020 to have a really stellar 2021 year. But at this point, I'm going to turn it back over to Doug.
Thank you, Jason. Great information and some great tips and techniques. We're about ready to wrap, so I'm going to make a last call, last appeal for questions. If anybody has any questions, please use the chat feature within GoToMeeting and we'll be happy to address them. So what did we learn today? We presented a lot of information in a very small amount of time. May have seemed a little bit rushed. Again, this webinar is being recorded, so you'll have a chance to go back and refer to it. And as Jason said, feel free to reach out to us at any time for help. What did we review today? We talked about profiles, that those profiles need to be as complete and well crafted as possible. You're making sure, as Maddie said, that your locations are completely filled out based upon your membership level, and make sure that the photo of you, as you would in online dating, represents you as a competent and a trusted professional that's going to help sellers move their business. Linking accounts. So I think that's really important, primarily to LinkedIn, but to all the other professional associations and memberships that you have. You link those and it's just going to be able to help you expand to promote your credentials, but also it's going to help you in your online networking. On the listing side, making sure those listings are well crafted, well thought out, well presented, that's going to be compelling and it's going to draw people in to make that listing very appealing. Photos are important, if not critical. It's just going to help you attract more buyers. Look at those listings, avoid all caps, get good photos. You can go to pexels.com to get stock photography if you don't like the photos of the actual business or you don't want to use those. And then look at your stats, monitor your listings. And if you need to make adjustments, and if your percent click rate is below 2%, reach out to us to see if we can help you in other ways. This was not intended to be a pitch for additional BizBuySell products, but there is the ability to upgrade your membership, upgrade listings to premium or elite. That's available to you, but we're not here today to present that. We're helping you to make the most. So that's all we have for today. Thanks for being a part of our webinar. Again, we're here to help. This is Maddie's email address, mblen@bizbuysell.com, and feel free to reach out to us anytime, 888-777-9892. I don't see any questions in the chat, so I appreciate everyone joining us today. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and let's make the most of this time that we're in right now. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good day. Bye-bye.